Yo, what's up? This is Fling with the FS Army, and this is your Week 8 cash lineup review. All right, I'm over at Fantasy Labs in the $25 massive double up single entry, and the cash line was 143 points. So a little better than I did for sure. But, really the biggest difference, I think, for people cashing and not cashing this week was playing Bo Nix or, over Jordan Love or over Tua. Bo Nix was the top owned guy. And, he ended up being 42% owned here, almost 30 points. So definitely a smash. This lineup also had, I think this was pretty good cash. Actually, no, I wouldn't play this lineup in cash. This lineup was way too contrarian, but sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. So, it had Bo Nix, it had Kareem Hunt. I think that was a good play. But just a lot of one-offs here. So, I certainly wouldn't play this type of lineup. Let's see what the lineup above it did. Okay. This is definitely more of a cash lineup. This is Bo Nix, Breece Hall, J.K. Dobbins, Tyreek Hill, Ladd McConkey, Jalen McMillan, David Njoku, Javonte. So this is like the perfect cash lineup. This is very chalky lineup, over 300% total ownership, and it really just had the best plays. So Breece Hall, honestly, I don't think we can use New York Jets anymore in cash because the offense, the coaching staff, it's just a team that's in disarray. I don't know what they're doing. They fired their coach. They fired Saleh. They removed Nathaniel Hackett from play calling. And then we saw Breece Hall get 21-plus opportunities in back-to-back games, have 140 all-purpose yards. What did they do in this game? They start giving Braylon Allen the ball. They gave him – it was almost a 50-50 timeshare. Just like out of the blue, they start giving Braylon Allen the ball. So – he kind of bombed here, 9 points for a 7,300 player. It was just that Braylon Allen got one of his touchdowns. And, if he had gotten a few more carries, I think he had 80 yards. So he could have easily got 100 yards. He could have got the bonus and he could have got the touchdown that Braylon Allen got, of course. So it would have been much better. I would say going forward, Breece Hall is not a cash consideration anymore. Going to be a strong tournament play, but not a cash consideration. But overall, this lineup had a lot of the chalky pieces in good spots. Going against a New England team, they were pretty big favorites. J.K. Dobbins going against New Orleans, expecting him to get the bulk of the carries. He did. 16 points, perfectly fine for cash. Tyreek Hill, underpriced. He was going to be mega chalk, and he was 13 points. It's fine for cash. Not going to win either tournament, but perfectly fine for cash. McConkey was in a great spot, just like Dobbins going against a New Orleans team. It's just very poor on defense. So he absolutely smashed. McMillan, this is what the domination station was giving us for DFS Army, for our optimals. And this is perfectly fine. 9 points from a 3,700 player. Njoku, good spot. I preferred K-Dot, and when we get to my cheat sheet, we'll see. But, David Njoku was in a good spot, just like K-Dot, and, with a team that's depleted of wide receivers. And then Javonte, same thing, 10-point favorites at home. I'm not sure I would have wanted Nix and Javonte in the same lineup, but, this lineup was great, 149 points, and this is a very cashy lineup. In fact, we're going to look at the chalkboard and the cheat sheets, and of course, I'll show you my cash build. So, in fact, we'll just go to it. We'll take the Band-Aid off. We'll just rip it right off. So, like I said, I had a very similar lineup to what you just saw. The biggest difference is I played Jordan Love, and I don't know, was that bad process? I don't think it was. They are going against a team at home that is the worst secondary in the league. And you got a guy in Jordan Love averaging 22 DraftKings points per game. So he ended up getting replaced by Malik Willis because he got hurt. He took 2 pretty big hits. He was limping around. They finally just replaced him. Malik Willis comes in, throws a touchdown. I'm confident Jordan Love would have got another 10 points to get me to the cash line. I think it was, 142. So, at least 10 points. I think Jordan Love certainly would have got there. He would have scored about 20 and got us to the cash line. But we'll never know because he got hurt. Just like last week, Jaden Daniels got hurt. Juju Smith-Schuster got hurt. Sometimes it's just bad variance, and, it's process over results. In the long run, we want to see the results. But week to week, what was the process? I think playing Jordan Love in that spot at home with a high team total, a high game total against the worst secondary in the league, I thought he had a safer floor than Bo Nix. Trust me, I'm a Broncos fan. The Bo Nix tape has been very inconsistent. It was a great spot. He smashed this week. He was the highest owned guy. But Jordan Love and both Bo Nix, they were perfectly acceptable plays, each of them. This Jordan Love play just didn't work out this week because he got hurt. Like I said, Breece Hall, it could have been absorbed if you had a good game from Jordan Love, just like we saw with this lineup here. But he didn't. Dobbins was fine. Tyreek Hill, we would have loved to have seen more from him, but it didn't crush you. McConkey crushed. McMillan was fine. K. Dotton crushed. And it was really just Williams, Hill, Hall, and Love. So a little bit of an underperformance in several spots, but overall, this lineup was very close to the cash line. It was 142 points, so it certainly wasn't way off. A little bit of bad variance. That's how it goes. I will say one thing about this lineup that I really didn't like is I did not like the Ravens pay up. And typically I like a pay down. And I think if we had – oftentimes the optimal will give you a pay up at defense, so might have to finagle it a little bit more and kind of force in a pay down, and that would have allowed me to probably get up from Hall. I think I could have probably, if I pay down a defense a little bit more, I could have got up to Joe Mixon over like Javonte because, I was playing around with some lineups earlier on in the week, and I think definitely had some Hall, Mixon, Hill, McConkey lineups. So could have got there, but needed to pay down a defense, and that's why we do those pay downs at defense, even if they're in a good spot. The Ravens defense isn't what it is. Wasn't what it was last year. So, not the best week for me in cash games. A couple bad weeks. I think we're going to be all right. We're going to go back to the drawing board. Hopefully our quarterbacks will stop getting injured, and that would be a tremendous help. But let's look at the chalkboard here, see what it was telling us. It told you the Bo Nix was going to be the highest owned play. This is a tool DFS Army subscribers have every week. Piecing together your lineup with the chalkboard is certainly a way you can attack cash games because these are often who are the best plays. It was Bo Nix, it was Tua, it was Jordan Love getting the top ownership here. The running back, Breece Hall, was going to be mega chalk. And honestly, if he had gotten all the carries, probably would have paid off and it would have been fine. But clearly, that coaching staff could not be trusted. It's just a bad team. Javonte Williams was right behind him. And then it was J.K. Dobbins, Devin Achon, and Joe Mixon, who these were the only guys that I had considered in cash. And we'll get to the cheat sheet in a minute. But, yeah, three out of these 5 certainly did well. Tyreek Hill, top guy. Jalen Waddle, underpriced relative to their role. So this chalk made sense. Certainly liked McConkey. Drake London, bad variance. Mooney and Kyle Pitts got all the touchdowns. That's why Drake London failed. But it was a good matchup for him, and that's how it is with wide receivers. Like, wide receiver ones fail all the time. That's something to keep in mind for tournaments. Direct leverage, Mooney, Kyle Pitts. And then K. Dotton was far and away the top play, but Njoku was a solid play right behind him. And if they had been priced the same, he would have been just as good of a play. But K. Dotton at 3,500 with both Godwin and Evans out, that certainly made sense. And then, let's kind of finish up with the cheat sheet here. We'll go to my cash cheat sheet. I had Jordan Love, had Bo Nix. I liked Love above Nix just because of his floor. He had averaged 22 DraftKings points per game as opposed to Nix has been about 15. So, I thought they were close enough in pricing, about 1,500 that I liked the Love play. Didn't work out. He got hurt. I loved Mixon. I loved Hall, Dobbins, Achon, and Williams. So, overall, these plays were good. It was just really the Breece Hall one that really burned you at 7,300. The Williams one at 6K didn't hurt you nearly as bad as the Breece Hall one at 7,300. These other 3 plays were certainly great. Amon-Ra caught a touchdown. I liked him, but I didn't get to him. Tyreek Hill was a core for me at that ownership and the missed price. Like I said, Drake London certainly didn't get there, but the matchup was right. He was going against a team giving up 32 yards above average to opposing passing offenses. It was actually a good matchup for him against their scheme. They had a good team total, and he'd been getting a lot of volume. Pitts and Mooney, they got the touchdowns. So that's why that one failed. Jalen Waddle, the volume was not there for him. So even though he was mispriced, the volume was not there. I liked McConkey better, though. You'll see anytime you have like 3 stars on the same players in the same price range, you're typically going to want to go with the one who has the higher projection and is cheaper. So I had the higher projection and fantasy points per dollar play. That's why McConkey made it into my cash lineup and Jalen Waddle didn't. And then, last couple of guys I had here, I added Yoshi Voss to the sheet late, but he had 3 targets, didn't catch any of them. Yeah, it was just a terrible day for him. And, Trey Palmer was another guy that was in consideration. He was chalk, but then when it came down to it, McMillan ended up getting a better projection. He ended up getting more ownership, and I was getting to him in optimals, so it was a really good spot just to go with 2 Tampa Bay pass catchers at that value. And Cade Otton was the guy. He smashed 10 targets last week after, Mike Evans had left the game, so loved him there. And, at defense, it was really given what the optimals gave me. But the Ravens, they were chalk. But you needed Jameis to have a bad game, and he had a great game, so it certainly failed. The other pay down option was the Bears D. Of course, it would have worked a little bit better if Jaden Daniels did not play in that game. But a punted defense is always acceptable. The pay down option, it's the pay up option that burns you because you certainly could use that $700 salary to upgrade at one of the other positions. So bad cash week. We are on to the next. That's going to do it for this week. We'll get back to the winning side next. See you next time.